Hello, 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 guys. Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? This is your girl, Najwa. I'm so happy you're here. If you are watching this after the fact, please go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell. That way, you know whenever I post a video. Guys, Sussex Squad, I missed you so much. So, we are back here to talk about the 8 ways that Harry and Meghan are so resilient, the reasons we love them. We've finally made our way to number 8, but at the same time, I feel like we can't really wrap these up. Guys, let me know how you guys have been doing in the chat. Feel free to say hi. I really missed you guys. I heard that there was a little bit of difficulty when people were trying to donate to my PayPal. First of all, I want to say if you want to donate to this channel, that is all good and well. It's wonderful, but you do not have to. I am not hurting. But of course, all of your donations are totally welcome. They're totally appreciated. I had previously put like my PayPal email in here. And maybe, I don't know, my name sometimes can be a little bit like hard to spell. So maybe like there could be typos or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just difficult putting in the email itself. So what I did was I went ahead and I actually just created a paypal.me/real Najwa link. That's real Najwa, RealNajwa. Najwa. And so it's just paypal.me/real Najwa. But again, I want to say you're not absolutely obligated to go and donate or anything. Like whatever you do is wonderful. But if you want to just hold on to that donation until, like more subscribers come to my little channel and subscribe, and you actually can just go ahead and do the super chat or whatever it is, that is totally fine. But at the same time, I totally appreciate it. So anyway, with that being said, let's get into it. So we're talking about the 8 ways that Harry and Meghan are resilient. We got this beautiful little picture here of the Sussexes above at their wedding. And you know what? We've been through, their social justice things. We've been through their projects. We know that when they escaped, a lot of the Rangers are probably not going to want to say that they escaped the UK, but they quite literally escaped the UK. They were fleeing, quite literally fleeing racism, sexism, death threats, So, I mean, this is not a small feat. This is not a little feat. And so they actually started to take on these projects. We see them taking on these projects, and lots of people really hate this. The trollery is so real. But at the same time, something that's really funny to me about this is like when you look at some of the other senior royals, the face is there. They've got the FaceTime, they've got the like beautiful PR picture smile, whatever it is. And they've got sort of the facade that says, we are committed to these social justice causes. But at the same time, nobody else in the royal family, none of the other senior royals friggin' married like a mixed race American woman. So they don't know. They really just don't know. I think that Prince Harry, as someone who speaks to someone who's married to a white person myself, when a white person sort of is either married into a minority family, when you're married into a minority family, when they say, for instance, become best friends with someone from a minority group, when they maybe move from like a predominantly white neighborhood, whatever that is, or a neighborhood that whatever their culture is, any person, and they move to another neighborhood that's extremely different, whatever it might be. When people are super duper exposed to other cultures, especially in terms of like minorities, people, it's just a given. People start to look at things in different ways. They start to not necessarily become more cultured in the way that you would when you go to a university or when you get a doctorate degree or whatever it might be. It's more like, oh crap, I'm looking at racism, I'm looking at sexism, I'm looking at misogyny in a way that I never ever did before. And so Prince Harry, just as a result, that's where he's at. He's closer to these issues now, these issues of racism, of poverty, of misogyny, of hate speech, of the lack of ethics in the media. He's closer to it now because he married someone who a lot of people want to label as the other. whether those people understand that they're othering Meghan or not. That's what the situation is. And when you look at the other senior royals, you just you logically won't have that. You won't have that dynamic because, you know, Kate Middleton didn't marry someone of color. King Charles III didn't marry someone of color. So they just don't have that insight in that way. And it's okay. It's okay to not be there. Hi, Miss Lakiva. I completely agree. Meghan is so beautiful, and Harry is a very, very strong person. And I want to really take what you just said, strong, like really underline and sort of highlight that strong, because I think that right now what's happening is it's happening in the UK, it's happening in the US, it's happening in the Western world. I was so crushed to see that affirmative action was overturned by the Supreme Court in the US. You know, what's happening is this fascism is popping up, you know, and it's been there. The seeds of it has been there wherever you go in Western civilization, because it's been there in society for so long. And the thing is that more and more interracial couples are happening. More and more diversity in these multicultural landscapes are happening. And people just don't realize, they don't realize that this is not easy. You know, like I feel like there was this huge boom that happened on the internet that like totally fantasized interracial marriages, you know, the black man with the white woman and the black woman with the white man, whatever, Latino with the Asian, Indian, Blasian, however, interracial couples was like a trend. But I think that what people who aren't in interracial or multiracial sort of landscapes, what they don't realize is that it takes a huge amount of strength. Like strength is the key word. It takes a huge amount of strength to look at all the hate that exists in the world that's literally just been threaded there, because that's the way things have been for so long. Even people, you know, I look at, and squaddies, you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this. But I look at Prince William and Kate Middleton and Camilla and Charles, for example, or Sarah Ferguson, you know, any of those kind of players in this. And I look at them and I think, I don't necessarily think that these are evil people at the core. I think that there are some derangers out there and they got some misplaced anger. They look at Harry and Meghan and they see evil people. You know, that's just like, it's like the Spider-Man meme where there's a Spider-Man pointing at the other Spider-Man and they're like, you're the one, and you're the one. But I think that they're not necessarily evil people. They're just misguided, right? They're just misguided. They don't understand that it takes an overwhelming amount of strength to actually acknowledge, okay, that injustices like racism and sexism and misogyny exist in the world. And then not say, oh, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. And then go and actually try to do something about it. So that is why Meghan is the people's princess. That's why Prince Harry is the people's princess, because they saw it, and instead of running away from it, they ran away from the crazies in the UK, but they did not run away from injustice, and they're continuing to do stuff about it. So, I mean, when I look at the other senior royals, that just hasn't clicked, and it's okay if that hasn't clicked, you know? Like I said, they're not married to someone of color. They haven't gotten to get that front seat experience of like, this is serious. And this is something that is so ingrained in every institution that we have. Harry has gotten that fast track to saying, holy crap. Okay, stuff has changed. I'm not looking at this in the same way. And so when I go and I see, you know, from what we've gotten to today, you know, the fact that they have been so strong and resilient in the face of their family betrayals. When you go and look at all of the hate speech, the hate campaigns that were started on Twitter, many of which were spearheaded by, you know, Meghan Markle's own family members. When you look at them stepping down as royals, when you look at their whole journey, you kind of understand it a little better, right? Okay. So that's basically where we are. Now, with that being said, I need you all to sign these petitions. Sign those petitions. If you're watching this after the fact, basically what happened was we created some petitions that advocate for the Sussexes' safety. And then if you think about the safety element, it's like there's threats to their sort of physical person. There's threats to their family because the corrupt UK tabloid media has been absolutely obsessive. Okay, but there's this indirect like element that comes from that, and that's people being incited with hate. You know, there are people who are looking at all of these fake news articles that are coming out of the UK for the most part. Some of them are coming from other parts of the world, but the most part, they're coming out of the UK. And they're not just hateful, they're just not racially driven, or maybe not even racially driven, but sort of like we were just talking about, sort of just racially insensitive, racially ignorant. You know, it's not really taking a look at what's happening right now in society and using that as a lens to talk about the Sussexes in a manner in which it's sensitive to their cultural differences, it's sensitive to their whole story, their whole background. And what that has done in turn is it's shown some people out there who are really struggling. I mean, who are really struggling. We look at the economy across the Western world right now. And yeah, you know, in some ways things are improving, you know, but in other ways, the economy is faltering because of these things that Harry and Meghan have flagged. And people are looking at them and they're saying, oh, well, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they're totally rich. Okay. And they have all of this money. They had to do all of this, and they have the glam and the glitz and the clothes and the fashion. And right now, my life is pretty crappy. You know, right now I'm dealing with real issues, quote unquote, real issues like poverty, like health issues. You know, and they take that displaced anger and they're sort of putting it on Harry and Meghan instead of looking at them and saying, oh, wow, they want to advocate for a better world in all these different ways. I really should support them. And they're sending hate towards them every second of every day. And some of them are very real, clear threats. We look at when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were in NYC, very clear and real threats. And although people said that Meghan Markle didn't come to the Gracie Awards because she had a prior engagement, she hadn't planned on or confirming if she was going to call him or whatever it was, I know that we see less and less and less and less of Princess Meghan because it's just like she's got to do some self-preservation because she knows there are people out there who look at her with a seething anger, a seething hate that is scary. That is scary. That is just because of her skin color. And that is what makes it so insidious. So there's all of those elements. There's the element of the media. There's the element of their safety. And on top of that, there's the betrayal from their family, the senior royals. Yes, you know, the monarchy in the UK is an institution. Yes, we get it. It's ran like a business. But at the same time, this is Prince Harry's family. And they refuse to provide Prince Harry and Meghan Markle with Buckingham Palace sponsored security while they're there. And this has to be the highest echelon of security because it's been made that way. It's been sculpted over centuries to keep the crown protected. And they refuse to do the most that they can to take a stance to say, hey, I'm going to stick up for my people. So signing these petitions is more imperative than ever. The links are in the chat. Okay, I put them in the chat beforehand, and they're also in the description if you're joining here after the fact. We'll keep coming in on this. And guys, I completely encourage you. I am not like the orator and the queen or king or, you know, say all be all on Sussex petitions. I encourage you all to sign your own petitions. I encourage you all as Sussex Squad to go out into the world and advocate for the Sussexes with love and prayer. We're better than these crazy people who have sent all of this hate and deranger stuff. You know, I was looking at a video on Sussex Squad Family TV the other day, and he was talking about how Taylor Swift, some trashy UK tabloid media was trying to pit Sussex Squad, which I mean, I'm going to say quick note. Okay, that's kind of cool that we actually are getting mentioned by name in comparison with as big of a following as Swifties, as they call them, as Taylor Swift fans. But the article cares nothing about Taylor Swift fans, cares nothing about Success Squad. It's truly, as always, just for these corrupt tabloid media to get more clicks, to get more sales, to get more engagement. Okay. Don't, as he said, as Brian said on this channel, don't take the bait, because we're better than that. The one thing that separates us from this craziness, and it's not just the derangers, it's this energy and this, I don't even know how to address it. This sort of mentality today that has, faceless, nameless pictures. And that means I can send you as much hate as I possibly want without ever having any accountability. This whole culture of this, we don't have to play into that. We are classier than that. So we don't have to do that. Sign these petitions, spread love, spread prayer, send those prayers up for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Continue to advocate for the things that they're advocating for, like more equality, more tolerance, fairer media. We can do this. So there were 3 petitions, if you guys remember. There was one to provide the Sussexes with security while they're in the UK. That has 9 signatures. By far, out of all 3 of these, and these petitions have been out for at least a few weeks now, so we're gonna keep on rallying and cheerleading for this over the coming months, years, however much, because this is something that really has to go. And as I said, these petitions are not the end all be all. We have to manifest this energy of surrounding the Sussexes with love and our entire comportment. When we go and talk to our friends in the squaddies groups, we talk about, hey, what ways can we advocate for them to be safer, to be saner, to be well? I was actually looking at something about the TIG, right? We were talking about the TIG and how the TIG might come back. And a lot of people were saying, oh, I really love this idea of the TIG having an IG, an Instagram. I hope that Meghan does it. Like, I really love the idea of like Archewell having an Instagram and things like that. Dude, the thing is right now, Meghan Markle probably feels like, oh my God, if I do this again, am I going to face all of this hate? It's a cultural thing. This culture of the trolling, the hateful, the death threats, the nasty gunk that's out there, it's got to be changed. And it won't happen. You guys aren't going to like what I got to say. It won't happen until we love our enemies. I'm not saying for us to go out there. Y'all ain't gonna like that. Squaddy's gonna come after me. Y'all aren't gonna want to go to the derangers and be like, yo, I love you. But behind that nameless, faceless profile, very, very likely there's a super duper hurt person. And that's something that keeps encouraging me to keep on my missions, very similar missions of the Sussexes, anti-racism, anti-misogyny, trying to get that racism out of our institutions, trying to have a more tolerant world, acknowledging climate change, poverty, childhood adversity. I'm passionate about a lot of similar things, but it can get very easy to be discouraged because there's a lot of people out there. When you see them behind their nameless, faceless profiles, you think they are pure evil. And even when you see faces, like when we go and look at our other squaddy channels and we see this coverage of all of this crazy stuff that people are doing, all of these journalists for the trashy UK tabloid media and people from the Heritage Foundation and all of these crazy people that just seem totally evil at core. Remember that these are people who are likely just super duper hurt on the inside. So we do not have to lower ourselves down to their level, and we can keep advocating for the Sussexes. You might find ways in your own creative ways to advocate for them. It's all to say, again, these petitions are not the end all be all, but I hope that we can see that this can be something that basically focuses on where we need to go: security, more ethical journalism, and then paparazzi laws. So the paparazzi laws, this has 16 supporters. Like I said, the fair media by far has way more supporters than any of the other ones. I'm sorry, I'm gonna lean into these petitions for a little bit longer because I really want you guys go in the chat. I put the links in the chat. Go in the description. If you're watching this video after, go and sign these petitions because they're so important. I noticed that by far, as far as funding the second phase of the Leveson inquiry and looking into creating a more fair, ethical media in the UK so that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle can live their life a little bit safer and not have to worry about all of these people who have been incited by this crazy UK tabloid media. I can definitely see that that's setting a marker, that that's one of the biggest concerns from Sussex Squad. The other ones are still equally important. I actually was really, really surprised that there are more supporters, more signatures for the paparazzi laws. That has 16, while the security in the UK has 9. So I like I said, I encourage you guys to sign these. Go in the chat, go in the descriptions. If you want more information, you can actually go and look on the pages. I give you the full rundown, and sign those petitions, guys. So we are finally at number 8, the final reason that we love Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for being so, so resilient. It is because they talk the talk and they walk the walk as anti-racist. I'm going to say that one more time. They talk the talk and they walk the walk as anti-racist. And what does that even mean? My husband and I, we went out with a friend who's totally French. I mean, his name is Pierre-Louis, for goodness sake. And, we were talking about anti-racism. And he was like, oh, well, I have friends who are always talking about stuff like this. And they're radical, la gauche radicale, like the extreme left, whatever it is. I said, hey, I'm not extreme left. I'm not extreme left. I said, just because I want to advocate for anti-racism doesn't make me extreme left. And my friend said, well, you know what? Like, nothing can be solved in a generation. Nothing can be solved instantaneously. And I said, okay, well, I'm with you and I feel you. I agree with you to a certain extent, but that's really not the question at hand. It's what can you do? What can you do in this moment? So you look at the other senior royals, for example, and concerns with Harry and Meghan. They've gone on Twitter, we don't condone racism, blase, blase, some sort of a very sanitized PR statement about being anti-racist, quote unquote, anti-racist. But the question is, like, what have the other senior royals and the UK and the firm done after that? For example, you guys have seen on my other videos where we talk about the story time. We look at the comments, and one of those story times, I actually focused on Commonwealth Day. And there were all of these Commonwealth performers, and there was these Commonwealth protesters. And it was like, as the royals were walking into the cathedral to have this Commonwealth ceremony, no one was paying attention to what the protesters were doing. No one was paying attention to what they were saying. And I mean, it's really giving me let them eat cake vibes. I heard that, someone said that in concern about the affirmative action thing. And I thought about that and I was like, wow, that applies to a lot of stuff these days, where on paper, in talk, people are saying, I'm not a racist person. I never do that. I'm not a racist person. But Harry and Meghan have really, really put their necks on the line, truly put their necks on the line to advocate for anti-racist causes. In what ways, you might ask? They commit themselves to it, truly. They could have really looked at racism and they could have just shut up, right? Because that's essentially what the UK told them to do. The UK, well, I won't say the entirety of the UK. There are some good eggs in the UK. We're talking about institutions here. The institution, the corrupt UK tabloid media, basically said, shut up. Shut up about all that racism stuff. The UK is not a racist country. And the Sussexes, for a while, tried that. They tried that, but they were still the unfortunate victims of racism. And I think something that people really, of the majority, I'll go ahead and say, at least those ones who really have not put a precedence to align themselves and put themselves around perspectives outside of their own, i.e. minority perspectives, they really don't understand that this stuff stays in your DNA. You know, it hurts you from the core. It doesn't just hurt you, it's like it hurts every single generation of people that came before you. You feel the whiplashes of your ancestors with every snarl, with every snide comment, and in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's case, every completely out of line article, every tens of thousands of tweets, hate tweets that are put out about them every single day. It cuts you to your entire core. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle could have just stayed strum. They could have stayed strum, and they could have just shut up and tried to suck it up and not said anything else. But they didn't. They saw that committing themselves to anti-racism was so important, not just for them, but on a global scale. So I want to read this from Celebrity, which we love Celebrity on this channel. So this article is from November 17th, 2022. And while it is from a year ago or half a year ago, however you want to call it, we've tracked basically a lot of the statements, a lot of the stances that the Sussexes have put down on racism, right? But this one, although it is not actually saying every single thing that they've done in a way that is detailed, you know, in a way that is like a list version of every single thing that they've done that has been an anti-racist initiative. If that was the case, this would be a very, very, very long article. But I do think that this article from Vanitatis and this commentary from Kaiser from Celebrity, I do think that it really encapsulates the spirit of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's anti-racism. So let's read this together. Kerry Kennedy, the Sussexes challenged structural racism and were ostracized. November 17th, 2022, and this is commentary on this article. If I'm not mistaken, we've read this before, either on this stream series or at some other video, but we've read a portion of this before. But I want us to read also the commentary that Kaiser's saying here. So it says, when my father went to South Africa in 1966, he spoke in front of a white audience and said that the problem in this generation is talking about racial justice. He also spoke of moral courage. Pause there. You guys know I always pause. That goes back to that thing. When you really either marry into a minority group, surround yourself with minority groups, you start to actually really get a lens that you might not have had before. I think right now, the corrupt UK tabloid media, the people that have been incited by that, and the institution, they've kind of got their ears closed. La 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 la. I'm not listening. When you pull the fingers out, something happens. Okay, it takes courage. Continuing. Saying that few would have the courage to question their colleagues, family, and community about the power structure they maintained. Pause again. We know that this comes back to something that has been embedded in Western civilization all over the world for decades and centuries and millennia. For anyone to claim the UK is not a racist country, the US is not a racist country, Australia is not a racist country, France is not a racist country, Italy is not a racist country. You can't do that. It's just not possible because racism is a part of every single institution in those countries. We do want to get to that point where we can be colorblind, but we're not there yet. And just pretending that we are, it really sets us up for failure. And Prince Harry and Meghan truly, truly understand that. It goes on to say, and this is what Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have done. They went to the oldest institution. This is one of my favorite lines I've ever seen written about them. They went to the oldest institution in UK history and told them what they were doing wrong, that they couldn't have structural racism within the institution, that they could not maintain a misunderstanding about mental health. They knew that if they did this, there would be consequences, that they would be ostracized, that they would lose their family, their position with this structure, and that people would blame them for it. Pause there. Again, I'm getting serious let them eat cake vibes. I truly, truly hope that the institution in the UK will take a stance, a continued stance. This is not something that will be resolved with a tweet here and there. Like Harry and Meghan, although they hate to do it. I think it's kind of like when a narcissistic parent, which I don't know. I mean, I couldn't diagnose anybody with narcissism, but I'm just using this as an example. It's like when a narcissistic parent sees their child is further advanced in their exploration of, say, a particular academic subject, or they're further in their travels, or they're further in their charity work. And instead of that parent coming from an emotionally intelligent place of saying, I am so proud of you, teach me. I'll guide you along the way in the ways that I can, but teach me. A narcissistic parent will try to destroy every dream, every hope, every mission, every project. And in doing that, that narcissistic parent will destroy themselves. I think Harry and Meghan, the institution, the UK media really, really needs to listen to them. If the UK does not want this to be a let them eat cake moment, they really, really should listen to them. So I'm going to continue on. It says, they have done it anyway because they believe they couldn't live with themselves if they didn't question this authority. I think they have been heroic in taking this step. These are beautiful words from Kerry Kennedy. Now, this is what Kaiser said. Now, don't expect this to be as refined, as fluffy as what Miss Kennedy said here. Kaiser is definitely a little snappy. So Kaiser says, I mean, she's right. People don't talk about that enough. Maybe because Prince Harry and Meghan didn't actually frame it that way when they discussed their exit, but that's exactly what they did. Harry framed it as, I'm struggling. Sorry about that. Harry framed it as, I'm struggling. My wife is struggling. Let's find a way out so that we can live happier lives. What really happened is the oldest institution in the UK is built on institutional racism, and they were demanding capitulation from Harry and trying to force Meghan to leave the UK or unalive herself. Harry and Meghan gambled on themselves, all while knowing that they would be ostracized and smeared even more. They did it anyway. Bravery, courage, heroism of a different kind. I mean, guys, tell me what you think of that in the comments. Could you put it any better way? Now, like I said, we could literally sit here and go through every single way that Harry and Meghan are anti-racist. We could do it. And we would tell that to the people of the majority and to the derangers and to the institution and to the people who have been incited by hate. And they would take the chance to establish themselves as a judging authority, and they would reject every single one of the things. We'd say, oh, they did this. This makes them anti-racist. They would say that doesn't make them anti-racist. That makes them whiny babies. Oh, well, they did this. This makes them anti-racist. They would say, oh, no, they didn't do that because they were liars. I read this article, this totally unverified article. That makes them liars. But to look at Meghan, you know, I pray for Meghan so much. I really, really do, because I think what happened here is Meghan realized that, oh goodness, this one's so close to home, because for me, myself, I feel like I didn't experience any real racism until after I was at least, say, maybe 24. I had a couple of moments in my childhood. For example, I grew up Muslim, and we would go to this Eid prayer. Eid is like the Muslim Christmas. I mean, I'm Catholic now, but I remember going to Eid prayer. Oh, thank you, Jasmine. Oh my goodness, yes, she is our sister. But I remember being 5 or 6, and we would go to this religious function that was a really big one for Muslims in Atlanta, the city I grew up in, every year. And there would be Muslims from all over. There would be Muslims from Syria and Saudi Arabia, but also from Somalia or Kenya, and also just regular American Muslims like my family. And I would go and try to play with the kids who were Muslim just like me, but they had fairer skin. And they would not play with me, you know, and I didn't understand that as a child, you know. There's actually this wonderful story of this Black musician in Mississippi who went around converting KKK members. It's friggin' awesome. You know, if you ever have a chance, just take a look at it. Hi, No Dandu. Greetings from South Africa to our beloved Najwa and the beloved squaddies. God bless and protect the Sussexes family and your families. Oh, I love that, girl. You are coming in with the good stuff. Back to you, Queen. But the fact that it says here in this line, I mean, it takes so much strength. It's kind of like Miss Lakiva said, it takes so much strength. It takes so much strength to be an anti-racist. This is serious stuff. I think that people who really, they have never ever surrounded themselves with minority groups, they don't understand how serious this is. And I didn't really, other than those kind of few experiences as a child, I really didn't experience overt racism until after Donald Trump started really becoming at the forefront of everything. I will be so honest with you. Like, quite literally, I grew up in East Atlanta. It was super diverse. At that time, there was a lot of unity and integration in the area. And I started traveling sort of around, like, nationally. And just as time went on and Donald Trump became more present in everything, and he started giving the green light for this, at first subtle, but eventually totally overt fascism to sort of take over. That's when I realized that this is way bigger than just me. And I think Meghan Markle, as someone who, as the Derangers love to say, can pass as white, I think the same thing happened for her. I think she probably really didn't experience racism. At least for me, it was around when I was 24. For Meghan, it's even worse because she really didn't experience it until her, late 30s? Which, I mean, maybe that's really what's gotten them to the point where they won't give up. They talk the talk and they walk the walk. But I think at some point she realized, holy crap, I can't unalive myself. There's too much at stake. There's too much at stake. So she had the option, and Harry did. He was in, we'll get back to Harry in just a second, but he was in such a horrible position in all this. Meghan had the option to either say, dang, I'm just going to give up. You know, I can't go any further. I can't go on. And I imagine in the face of majority hate, violence, gaslighting, it's very easy for the minority to just say, I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up. But we don't give up. It's like my mama say, we're like roaches. We don't die, we multiply. But you can't, because at some point you realize This is so much bigger than me. And it's so much bigger than the UK or America or South Africa. It's bigger. It's global. And Harry was in such a difficult position with this because Harry was sitting aside and he had never had any experience with this. Harry lived his whole life as a white dude. Love Harry, but I mean, he lived his whole life as a white dude in a very rich family. And I'm pretty sure that Harry saw these things concerning racism going on. Princess Diana was so extremely involved in anti-racist causes. But like I said, something different happens when you really surround yourself with other cultures. I think of I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I grew up in Atlanta, okay? Like, I know a lot of, for lack of better terms, rednecks. There's some white and black rednecks in my family. And, some of the actual Caucasian people that are a part of my family through marriage, it's serious. It's serious. It's serious for us and it's serious for them. When you are quite literally living alongside someone of such a vastly different cultural background, it becomes more serious for you. And so Harry, I mean, like I said, he's totally got his black card because he understands. He understands and he's advocating for that. The senior royals, the institution, they have the opportunity. They had the opportunity to really listen to what Meghan and Harry were trying to say to them. And they have the opportunity. Sussex Squad, you guys will probably think, oh, well, once an abuser, always an abuser, and you should not give that person another chance. But the Bible says that you should love your enemy. Oh, hi, Bill. Okay, so Bill says, calmness in the treacherous storm, brightest sunshine in the darkest night of soul. Such faith in God, the ocean of love and mercy. May the consciousness of universal goodness protect Harry, Meghan, Archie, Lilibet, and Diana. I love that so much. Thank you, Belle. The Bible says love your enemy, and it's not easy to do. But I have to, as an eternal optimist, like Joe Biden said the other day on his interview on MSNBC, I gotta be an optimist. I gotta be an optimist because if you don't, what else is left? I'm still hoping and praying the derangers, the hateful UK tabloid media, and the institution will listen to Harry and Meghan. I hope that they will. And I hope that they will listen to actual Harry and Meghan because there's so much stuff out there that is just fake, 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 fake. Fake, 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 made up stuff from Harry. And it's always from some anonymous source. When you see Harry and Meghan make a statement, they say it is through their spokesperson. You know it's them. All right, moving on. So, other things that they did. Harry and Meghan donated £10,000 to get a diversity book in every UK state secondary school. So something about fascism, as I said before, it is ingrained in Western society as a whole. And though sometimes people can truly be ignorant to it. I mean, you guys have heard of Manifest Destiny. It's something that's insidious. It can just start off as oh, well, you know what? I understand why the majority does that to the minorities because sometimes the minorities, they acting up, Or it could be what? Those people are lazy. Or it could be what? It's just they're always complaining about race and they want affirmative action and, they're not really doing the work. It can be those small little nuggets and people are so people and it's not just people, individual people's institutions and platforms as well can really be ignorant, and not necessarily on purpose. Like I said, love your enemy. Even your enemy is a human being at heart, and human beings make mistakes. But people and institutions and platforms can fail to put the dots together. Oh, I have this unconscious bias. As Prince Harry said, I'm going to give a wink and a nod to them because fascism is rooted, the seeds of that is rooted in everything that represents these institutions of our Western civilization. And one of the only ways as Germany has proved, Germany, where the Nazis quite literally threatened the balance of everything in the 40s and the 50s and the 2000s and the 2010s and today, over and over and over again, Germany pours money into anti-fascist initiative. And the majority of it is through education. You guys have probably noticed it before, Sussexes Squad. You'll get into these arguments with these derangers and they will swear up and down that this is not about race. This is not about that. But at the same time, they're so angry. They're so aggressive. They're so violent in putting across this idea. But at the same time, they still are being prejudiced, especially in concerns of Harry and Meghan. But you can't argue, there's no arguing down that you can do with them. The only thing that can happen is advocacy and the ways that we can do it as individuals, as institutions, as platforms, and education. We're looking at a vast gap of education. And so the fact that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were contributing to the success of this book, that actually puts that at the forefront of the UK, because when you don't talk about it, when there aren't books read about it, when there isn't education and awareness around these things, it's gonna perpetuate. It's gonna be the same thing over and over and over again. Harry and Meghan recognize that. Now, child, I don't know what Meghan gave him. I don't know if she gave him some books by Malcolm X. I don't know if she, showed him the 1619 Project. I don't know what it was. But I definitely feel like at some point, it seems like in 2019, 2020, 2021, Harry just, even now in 2023, it just seems like Harry, I don't know what he's reading. I don't know what he's looking at, but reading the Spare memoir, looking at the things that they're doing, the way that they invested into this book, they're seeing one of the only ways you can combat fascism, authoritarianism, institutional racism, sexism, misogyny, hate speech is really through education. So this book is called A Colorful View from the Top. And I wanted to read you a little. I don't know if this is an excerpt. I actually went on Amazon to try and purchase this book, and it was sold out in my area. If any of you have read it, please let me know. But I'm going to read you a small piece from here. So it says, I'm so heartened to tell you, this is actually from Jonathan Mildenhall, who wrote the book, but it's also in collaboration with Harry and Meghan. It says, I am so heartened to tell you that this has not been our experience, and we are grateful to have an amazing collection of world-class leaders who have so generously given their time and truth. The stories you are about to read are utterly inspiring, captured so beautifully via interviews conducted over the past 2 years. These Black and brown luminaries have all become heroes to me. They have a number of traits in common. 1, none of them understand the meaning of no. I love this. They have all faced challenges, insecurities, doubts, disappointments, setbacks, failures, but these are just reasons to get back up and try harder next time. Tell them no. Tell them that you can. And they'll tell you that you can. So let me pause there and just say, Harry and Meghan definitely said no. There was a moment where they were like, should we just go ahead and do what they're telling us to do? Should we just go ahead and be puppets, And then they were like, no. It takes that. And if you actually look at the education that will eliminate fascism, eliminate institutional racism, it's truly all it is. It's just stories. It's just stories. It's just people telling their perspectives within the perspective of persecution that's happened throughout history. But fascists often they don't want to hear any other perspectives. They just want to control. I want you to do this. They've told Harry and Meghan over and over again, I want you to shut up. I want you to leave the UK. I want you to come back to the UK. I don't want you to have a baby. I want you to wear this. I don't want you to wear this. And all the meanwhile saying the UK isn't a racist country. I would say that these people, A, as I've said before, have not surrounded themselves with minority cultures to really, really, and I'm not talking about doing a news piece. Maybe New Piers Morgan has done a news piece. Oh, look at this over here in the wild. We can see a young black boy, you know. Okay, let me stop. But they truly, you can tell some of these people, they don't have minority family members, minority friends, you know. Otherwise, they would be much more open to just listening to another's perspective without having to put in your thoughts of what they should do, but just listening. Anyway, let's go on. It says they all work, number two, they all work extremely hard and smart and take great pride in pushing themselves to be the very best executive, creator, entrepreneur, or industry leader that they can be. It's like Roland Martin says, if we cannot advocate for more minorities in business and representation in government, administration, entertainment, if we cannot pay for it. Number three, if the world they want to see does not exist, then they will literally create it, build it, or shape it into being. They are all united in this conviction. Now, hearing that point makes me think of Dr. Shola. She's a front runner with this because I think this is all very new for the UK. I think she's a front runner with this, and I also think Stormzy is a front runner with this. Dr. Shola and Stormzy are so important to this anti-racist movement because we had the Black Power movement of the 1950s and the 1960s in the US. We had the Black Power movement, you know, the resurgence of that movement in the 1980s. We have the Black Lives Matter movement of today. We have Antifa. We have people, you know, social justice soldiers every day out there advocating for Black people to be respected as human beings, you know. In the UK, I think this is very, very new. And so that's why this is all the more important. We cannot allow ourselves to be silenced. Um, we'll go ahead and end it there. You guys can come back and pause this and take a look at it if you want to. Hey, Jasmine. So Jasmine says they hate it so bad that he did not marry a Brit. The derangers deify Diana. Public, due to her half Black heritage, cannot reincarnate a 100% British Diana with her womb. I love that. The public hates her for it. You go, girl. You are so right. You are so, so, so right. So I do want to just kind of show you the structure of the book. Like I said, I did want to go and try to like download this, but I couldn't. Not download it, but buy it on Amazon, but I couldn't. Um it looks like basically what it is like we said, it looks like it's stories, you know. You can see some stories here. Um let's see if we can read an excerpt from this. So it says, now we had something to put out into the wider world. The Guardian made it a half-page story in the print edition, and the digital version was retweeted 5,000 times the day it was announced. That really was the moment for Jacaranda because it got us such an enormous amount of attention. We got all of these people. We got all of these people coming up. And when I say people, I mean other publishing houses, other organizations, all the news outlets wanted stories. It just seemed to snowball. So it goes through more stories. Like I said, this is really perspectives. And then at the end, it has here some lessons. So it looks like it has some lessons and it looks like it has some affirmations. That's beautiful. That's really all of this. You know, I think a lot of derangers look at, oh, you know, anti-racist talk. It's just mumbo jumbo. But if you're not willing to listen to quote unquote mumbo jumbo, I don't really see how you can be an anti-racist because a lot of it is just people talking about their perspectives. And then you have to take away something personally from it. You have to take away something personally from it that you can carry back into society at large to make it a more tolerant, healthy, ethical place. So it's his lessons. Look beyond your immediate circumstances for inspiration to fuel your ambition. For young Valerie, that meant identifying passions that had the potential to fill her cup so that it was constantly flowing over with opportunity. If at first you don't succeed, get up and try again. Place the biggest bets you make on yourself. Understand the power of vision setting and the discipline of sticking with it. Affirmation: today, there are no limits to what I can do. It's beautiful. So that is pretty much it. I've got a few bonuses in here to wrap up with, and I think that we should go ahead and wrap up this series in prayer. I will do more of these live streams. Don't even worry your cute little noses. I know that this one is over, but we will keep coming back, talking more about the action items, talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's accomplishments. So this will not be the last of this breed. I wanted to add some bonuses in here, even though number 8 is that they talk the talk and they walk the walk in terms of anti-racism. We could also add that they advocate to improve the lives of children. We saw their work with Kaboom. We saw their work with the children's book, The Bench. We see that they donated a bunch of bikes very recently to a bunch of kids. We saw that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle went to Uvalde, Texas, very, very sadly after the school shooting there. So they advocate for the lives of children. They talk the talk and they walk the walk, not just with anti-racism, but with also advocating for children. They refuse to accept sexism. I mean, Meghan Markle, it really reminds me, if you guys haven't watched it, I did a review of Netflix's Cleopatra. Julius Caesar, alongside a strong, opinionated Black woman who expected respect. Lo and behold, she expected respect. Ooh, the early Romans did not like that. Meghan Markle refused to accept sexism. Her work with UN Women is a wonderful example of that. The fact that she has taken all of this hate and negativity and racism, sexism, and just fake news, misinformation thrown her way. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to keep on my game. I'm going to keep for good. They advocate for fair and more ethical media. We see Prince Harry and Meghan Markle not accepting this trashy, misinformed, misinformation, all of this crazy news coming out of the trashy UK tabloid media. And they're taking this stuff into court, so they're serious about it. They are born environmentalists, and they do not entertain absurd attacks. Lastly, they do everything possible to keep their family safe. And I definitely wanted to end on that one because you can clearly see they do everything possible to keep their family safe. I mean, in New York City, they're being chased by this crazy mob of paparazzi, which we know these were likely plants from the corrupt UK tabloid media. They quite literally dragged these people around on a 2-hour chase because they said, you are not going to break me down. They dragged these people directly to the New York police precinct. They're like, oh, you're going to chase me? Okay, let's take you to exactly where you belong, in jail. They do everything to protect their family. Even the fact that we see Meghan Markle, who just wants to bring good into the world, she's not showing her face as much. She's being subdued. She's kind of very strategically and tactically planning her projects, not necessarily because she wants to. She is a creative spirit. She's a creative soul. She wants to put stuff out there. But to keep Archie and Lily and Harry and herself safe, she's doing it as tactically as she can to avoid these crazies. Prince Harry is fighting for his family to be safe. Prince Harry has got a grudge to wedge with these trashy UK tabloid media. He is like, even though I know people hate my guts in the UK because I married a mixed race American woman, they hate my guts because I took a stance against sexism, racism, climate change deniers, poverty deniers. I took a stance. I know people hate my guts, but I'm still going to pursue these legal actions with all of my might. They do. This is the moment. Sometimes I can get very anxious just thinking. I saw that they went to the Singapore, what was it? The Singapore polo thing. And every time they travel, it's like my heart kind of jumps up into my throat a little bit because I get nervous. I'm just like, goodness gracious, I hope they're safe. But then after a while, I come back and I'm like, you know what? Harry and Meghan have, they continuously just astonish me with how smart, how tactical, how intelligent they are with keeping their family safe while still keeping on their missions. They better increase that security, but I think that they're doing a great job. So that's pretty much it. All I got, guys. That's the 8 reasons that we love Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, why they're so resilient. If you have any last thoughts, go ahead and put them in the chats. I will see you guys in the next video. I love you so much, Sussexes Squad. I'll see you in the next squatty video. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're good in your spirit. Oh, you know what? I said I was going to close this out in prayer. So wherever you are in the world, just maybe close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Lord Jesus, we want to thank you for bringing us here today with people in all corners of the world. It was you, Lord, that asked us to love our enemies. It was you who asked us to love our enemies, to turn the other cheek. You asked us to bear the cross. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they bear their cross, not just for themselves, but for people all over who have suffered at the hands of racism. Lord, we just pray that you keep them protected. You keep them protected as they do something that expands good all around the world. Lord, we pray that you will walk alongside them as a companion and a friend and a protector as they bring that good back into the world, Lord. And I pray deeply that you bless the squatties wherever they may be, whatever continent they may be on, in Europe, in Africa, in America, in Asia, South America, Australia, whatever continent they may be on. I pray that we all can stand in solidarity with the Sussexes to have that courage, Lord, to have that courage in the face of hate, the courage that you had to love your enemies. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Guys, I'm sending you so much love. I love you. Enjoy your dinner, your evening, wherever you are. If you're gonna put your feet up tonight, if you're gonna take a warm bubble bath, if you guys are going on vacation very soon, we're going on vacation very soon. We're going to this little glamping bungalow that has like a water park near it, and we're going to Euro Disney. So we'll be out in the sun. Next time you see me, I might have a super duper deep tan. But I'm sending you guys so much love. I hope you all have a wonderful summer vacation. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please go ahead and put your last thoughts, your last little goodbyes, and last prayers, whatever they may be, for the Sussexes, for the world, anything you want in the comments, in the chat. And I will see you guys next time. If you're watching this video after the fact, please go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, hit the bell so you know whenever I post a video, and I will see you guys next time. Bisous, much love. Bye. Bye.